Hi everyone, welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and build update number 1 of our 1985 Pontiac Fiero GT kit from Revell. It's a 1/24th scale, uh, and I've completely changed everything that I wanted to do with it from the beginning. So let's get the guys out of the way because I want to show you the Aventus airbrush while I can too. I just got this in the mail the other day, and I just tried it out last night for the first time, and then this afternoon I came back at it. Check it out. How cool is that? But it comes with a .2 millimeter, .2 something millimeter, I think, and a .4 millimeter. And I had to try this thing out on the small one just to see how tight of a line I could get. And I already knew the seats on this thing and the interior just weren't what I wanted. So I redid everything. But before I did, I figured, well, let's play. So here's the caramel colored seats. And I decided I'm going to just take something contrasting and see how tight of a line I can cut with this thing. So I'm playing with the trigger, getting a feel of that. I'm getting a feel of how much air pressure I should have and everything. And by the time I was done doing these seats, I felt like I could cut a line um, where you could sharpen a diamond with it. But it really sprays nice. I like the trigger action on it. It gives me a ton of control. One thing I have to say though, with the smaller one, it has a push-on tip, and when I was cleaning it, I thought I lost the tip. I could not find it all over the. Zach and I were crawling around on the floor. We did everything but pull the shop vac out. And here, what it was is when I put it in my cleaning cup, I, you know, had all the stuff in there. I put it in. I pulled the trigger 3 or 4 times, got all the solvent out of it, pulled it out, wiped it off real quick with a paper towel, not even thinking. Went to put some more in it and realized the tip's gone. And I thought for sure when I wiped that tip off with a paper towel that I knocked that thing down on the ground and it was gone. And we did. We looked everywhere. I figured I'm going to just have to order a new one. But what happened is when I put it in the cleaning cup, it stuck in there. When I pulled it out, it it just stayed in there and the tip stayed in. So we looked around forever, and then I looked back in there and saw the silver ring and was like, oh my gosh. So just a heads up on that. Other than that, the small needle will give you a micro line, and it gives you a nice sharp micro line um, without any problem. Now I've switched over to the .4 millimeter, and here I'm giving you a tack coat video where I'm just trying the thing out. First time I ever used the .4, and I'm holding back as far as I can just so I get enough paint on there for a tack coat. And you can see how nice that's spraying. And I want to say that that was about one button off of the beginning on the Serene Air, one button up, which is across the room, but I think that is 21 psi. So I did this. I let it flash for 5 minutes. I hit pause, and then I forgot to hit record again when I went and did the other colors. So this is the only shot I got of it actually spraying. But I can tell you right now that it did a heck of a nice job. Um, I can tear this down real quick, and I'll do that because I want to show you the new tip on this. And we won't tear the whole thing. Well, you know what? I will pull the needle out because I want to show you the trigger too. But see what they did with the jet is they cut helix in that now, shorten it up a little bit, and undercut it right here. They also give you a groove, and the needle has a groove. I'll show you that too, because like I said, this is a .4 millimeter, and I like the way that's set up. I'm going to put that right back in there so I don't roll it off the desk. Pull the needle out of there. See, the back of the needle has a line on it. That's telling me that this is the 0.4 millimeter. Nice, I love that. But how many times you cleaning it and your dang trigger comes out of there, and it takes you 5 or 6, 7, 10 minutes to put that thing back? Well, they redesigned this with a ball socket on it, and it makes it a lot easier to put this thing in. Pull it back just a little bit, drop it in, it goes into place every single time. So hats off to that, because I've had a couple of them that were just a royal pain. I don't crank that, I just seat it. They redid the tail end also with a nice taper on it so that it's easy to get your needle in and tighten up. I do love that opening, so I can line that up without bending the back of my needle. And that's it. It only takes a minute to tear the thing down. The feel of this is awesome. Not sure about the weight difference. It is a little bit lighter, but when you hold it without everything on the bottom, it feels very tip heavy. But when the hose is on there and the line air dryer is on there and the quick disconnect, it is really nicely balanced. And you saw I was coming in there, put my finger out and using that as a line, and it runs really smooth. I love the feel of it. But now, let's put this back over here, and let's dig into this. Like I said, I hated that caramel color with the red, so I opted to get rid of it, and I went with black and gray. And this is just Tamiya's flat black and Tamiya's XF19. And tell me that didn't spray nice. I have no complaints. I sprayed the seats. I didn't spray the interior. I did brush paint all this. You can tell it's not as crisp, but I wasn't able to get my airbrush in there the way I wanted it, because I was going to try to just freehand that. But it worked good. I like the black with the light gray. I think this is 180 degrees off of what it's supposed to be, but I like it this way, so I'm going to keep going with it. The dash is coming out really nice. Gray on the vents, gray on the box around it, and then I just painted these silver for right now. The vent, I do have to come up and touch up black on the top there. You see where I got heavy-handed with it. And then around the sides, I got heavy-handed right around there. See how that lays over? You can see it when you tilt it this way and you look head on. So come back with a brush, knock that out. The inside of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the bottom and the carpet just regular flat black, and then I'm going to quick shine this upper piece, and then the light gray and the center column coming down, and that'll give me a division between the carpet, because that's all carpet, and then the gray panel was plastic or vinyl or whatever. Same with this piece in here. So you'll have a good division of that. And with the seats being a flat like this, I think it'll look pretty good. I don't remember if there are decals for the headrest. I don't think there are. Probably won't use them anyhow. But the main dash, I did play with a little bit. If I can get it to focus, there we go. That's all hand painted. And then I just used my focus charcoal white that I got from Amazon to do the gauges on the inside. I'm gonna let that sit for overnight, and then I'll hit the needles with red on a sharpened. That does not want to stay in focus. On a sharpened toothpick. But there's still a little bit. I got some chrome here that I got to touch up and things like that, but no problem. My engine, so far. And we're just in the basics of this. But the engine is supposed to be all black. The oil filter, I'm going to do orange. And then the front of the starter, I just painted the aluminum just to give it a little bit. And I painted the head bolts with the aluminum. But I always paint my filter the silver because orange doesn't cover very well. And it covers a lot better on silver than it does on the semi-gloss black. I forgot to show you. Here's the other gauges. This is without the black painted on the inside. So we're going good. I got this started a little bit. Painted it red last night. Came back with the Tamiya's chrome silver over the top of that. Flat aluminum for the throttle body. Rubber black right in here. And then this is the Kaleido black. I painted the whole thing with the Kaleido black primer. So that's just primer there. And I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it the primer and I just dry brush over this, which is probably what's going to happen. Or if I'm going to come back and I'm going to paint that a semi-gloss black and tone it down that way. Either way, it's going to get dry brushed. Same with the engine and everything. That's why we're not rushing to assemble it all. Valve covers came out good. And again, that's the chrome silver over the Kaleido red. My rims came out really nice. And that is flat out Kaleido aluminum. Let it sit overnight and came back and just panel liner. And that's all that is. And that's all it needs. So I'm happy with that. And I got a whole parts bin of stuff that I've been working on. My exhaust, I drilled that out as best I could. I was afraid to go any farther for fear I'd blow these out. And then just black on the inside. Titanium. And then this is, I think it's aluminum. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. I just grabbed and went. Same with the starter and the compressor for the air conditioner. These are going to be black. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint them with the Kaleido primer and then hit them real quick with gloss black, and then they'll get put on the body. And we got a whole bunch of suspension stuff that I'm telling you, I haven't gotten far on this, but I did get the silver on it and then panel line that. I'll come back with the rubber black, but I've just been behind lately, and I just felt like I haven't gotten a video out to show anybody, but I have been moving on this thing a little bit. I like that titanium for the mufflers and for the catalytic converter. I think that really makes it stand off. And then it's not just one big, huge thing of aluminum in there like everything else. Now, this is aluminum all the way around. You see I stopped painting right here. This is going to get painted the Tamiya's iron, dark iron. And it just kind of bends over and clips right onto the engine. Works out really, really, really nice. The transmission, I think, looks great. Check that out. That is just aluminum and then panel liner. All it is. Some good detail in there. Real good detail. Put that there so I don't lose it. And then the rest of the suspension is pretty much the still in the semi-gloss black. Again, the interior, I did the flat black. While I was at it, I did the chassis in flat black. And I used the new Aventus airbrush on this because I wanted to see how Tamiya paint through here. And it painted Really nice. Went down without a problem. You can see I got dust on it already. But it went down without a problem, and it covered in one coat. So that's one coat. I will come back and I'll panel line the frame lines. We're going to change the color of our pipes going back, our radiator pipes going around here, the whole 9 yards. That needs to be done before I go any farther with this. I did paint the bucket around the front just because I wasn't sure how much was going to show through underneath on the body. And speaking of that, I didn't show you the red. That red painted so nice last night. I admit that I got heavy-handed with the last coat, so I am going to have to do some polishing and some wet sanding, but I do that anyhow. But this is the reason why I went with the black seats, because they're going to look awesome together. Oh, I forgot to show you the steering wheel. Ooh, check this out. I decided to gray out the steering wheel. I will. It's kind of Batmobile look, but I will hit that with the semi-gloss. But I thought that was cool. I've seen a couple of them like that. It'll look good with the dash, the way everything goes on there. It sits this way on the dash, and I think with the seats and all that, that's going to be really cool. Especially when this is still flat, the dash is semi-gloss, the steering wheel is semi-gloss. There's going to be a lot of contrasting textures with the same color, which I think is cool. It gives it, it kind of forces you to go outside the box. But with that, I'm not even sure how far along we are here, but I think I'm going to let you go. It's been a long week. Let's thank Gaahleri for everything they've done. Right now, they're having some good sales, so if you're thinking about getting anything, use Grandpa Mark, and the coupon code will get you 10% off of whatever you are getting. I want to thank our active duty members, our veterans, and our first responders for everything they do. They put it on the line every single day so we can do what we're doing. And I want to thank you for sticking around till the end. Y'all have a great day, a better tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching.